everybody, this is SG Transit Evolution, and today we'll have a special 20-minute long commentary about the 17 December MRT Shuttle Service event. So as you know, there's no MRT service on 2 Sundays, 10 and 17 December, and honestly, the 17 December MRT Shuttle thing, it is handled much better than that of the 10th. Now as you can see, there's a lot of buses, and there's also a lot of people who are taking the shuttle bus which is a replacement of the train service which isn't available at the time. Now there's quite a bit of people, there's quite a bit of demand, and there's also a lot of buses. And fortunately this time round, there isn't enough buses to congest the main road, so there isn't really a traffic jam caused by the buses, unlike the 10th December, that one was horrible. And there's also a lot of marshals and guards standing around to guide the people, and fortunately this time round the passenger flow was quite consistent. There wasn't a jam of people waiting for the buses. Now here we are at Tiong Bahru, and Tiong Bahru is not that big of an estate, so there isn't really that much people. There's also signs placed in the MRT stations, not very bad, they are quite obvious and very easy to follow, maybe because they have planned for it before. So right now, this is Tiong Bahru, and there's quite a bit of buses that is along this narrow street, but there is never a congestion caused by the buses, which is a good thing. Good job SMRT, and naturally LTA as a whole. Alright, so there's quite just a few passengers over here, and the same goes for Red Hill. You see, Red Hill, it is also quite a small estate, so there isn't really a lot of people over here. But then the buses, they all have to travel along the same route, so it's a good thing that there isn't really a jam caused by these buses. Alright, so sooner rather than later we'll get to Queenstown, and honestly Queenstown and Commonwealth, they're also quite small estates, so they won't really test the passenger flow. And right now, as you can see on the bus, well, there's still some seats left, there isn't a lot of them. The bus is not really that packed, it's not that crowded, there's people, but then, well, it's not cramped. Okay, so around at Queenstown and Commonwealth, they are small towns, so there isn't really much of an issue with passenger flow over here. And to be honest with you, do you notice something? You know, the MRT system, especially on the East-West line right now, as you can see, the MRT tracks are built along the main road. Well, honestly though, that is because they want to make it easier to avoid interference with electric lines and also those water pipes. But also, as you can see here, it's a very good thing, because when you need shuttle bus services, they travel on the main road. It is very easy for the shuttle buses to travel from point A to point B, and it's pretty fast along Shuttle 1's route. That's very good indeed. Over here, well, honestly, there isn't really that much cars after all. Even with this even with the MRT disruption, it's not suddenly there's a lot of cars on the road. So I say it's not that bad after all. Now right now we're heading towards Buona Vista, where something is very interesting. Here's the thing. Along Buona Vista, the bus no longer travels on Commonwealth Avenue West. Instead, it makes a detour to North Buona Vista Road, and then to Dover Road and Dover Avenue before returning to Dover. It's a really big detour. And why? Well, because the bus service, they want to better serve the Circle Line, which is operating at Buona Vista, and it will make it much easier for passengers to travel all the way. Walk to the Circle Line if they stop at the bus stop along North Buona Vista Road instead of Commonwealth Avenue West or Commonwealth Avenue. Well, honestly though, maybe it's a good idea for people transferring to the Circle Line, but it's quite troublesome actually for those people, because when you want to travel towards Dover, towards Jurong East, that really adds up 5 to 10 minutes of time. Now Dover is quite a interesting MRT station such that it serves educational institution. It is a good thing that on Sunday, on 17 December, there isn't really any schools around. So come January, late January, when the MRT service is closed in the east, well, there might be schools around. There might be people who need to go to school, so that will pose an interesting challenge on those people over there. Good luck to them. Good thing that this disruption right here, it only happens during the school holidays, so it doesn't really affect that much people. But we'll see how it will affect them. Now we are gonna reach Clementi. And Clementi isn't really that small of a town anymore. In fact, as you can tell from here, this bus stop is very cramped. And it's quite worrying over here because there's so many bus services that stops here, many of which will enter the Clementi bus interchange. So there might be a bottleneck here. There really might be a bottleneck here. Even on regular days, there could be like a bus jam of buses trying to stop here, only to like enter the Clementi bus interchange again and then stop and alight passengers. But there isn't any passengers at Clementi bus interchange. There's a lot of people, so they had to be more prepared over here. As you can see, they have to be pretty prepared with like guardrails to like handle the passenger flow. But even then, there isn't really a bottleneck over here, which is a good thing that there's a bottleneck of passengers, or else there will be chaos. There's also quite a bit of buses that stop by, but they don't like try to fill up every bus to be full to the brim of passengers, and that's a good thing. That means that the buses will just get into the station, and then once they're done, and once they're all done, they will just get out, and prevent the delaying of other shuttle buses that might be behind. That's a good thing that they do so, and not try to cram everybody, or else there will be congestion by buses waiting for other buses to get filled of people. Now from here, we'll travel to Jurong East, which was on 10 December, the bottleneck point of all the shuttle services. Yeah, they can like stop. I remember taking the shuttle one at Jurong East, and it took like 30 minutes just to stop into Jurong East temporary bus interchange. Not very ideal after all. But this time, there is a small jam. Actually, it's not even a jam, it's just like the traffic light regulating the flow of people. But it only took about 3 minutes from the Jurong Gateway Road to enter Jurong East temporary bus interchange. There isn't really a bottleneck this time, and that's a good thing. You know, Jurong East temporary bus interchange, right? The current one is sort of under-equipped, honestly. It's sort of under-equipped to handle all the buses. Even on regular days without the shuttle bus service, there can be jams here too. Not a very good thing. But at least there isn't one today. On 17 December. That's a good thing. Even though, yeah, you can see there's quite a bit of buses here. But at least they don't bottleneck out into the streets. Now, over here, as you can see, whether there's MRT or not, there's actually quite a bit of people. Though clearly, the crowd is thinned. It's not as much. There isn't as much people that came here on the MRT disruption days, the 10 and 17 of December, compared to usual. There's quite a bit less people, and you can tell just from the people over here. There isn't really a lot here. Look at this Westgate. There isn't really that much people compared to usual. Usually there's more. And you can even see like, look, the corridor is like pretty much empty, and it's quite a rare sight just to see the MRT concourse level within the pit area to be empty. That's a very rare sight. You never get to see that at Jurong East. And here is some technicians repairing the lift. Alright. Yeah, the gates are closed, obviously. And also, even at JAM, you know, the mall, there's also very few people. It's quite rare to see that few people on Sundays, especially at Jurong East. And I'm pretty sure that the same applies to surrounding malls like Big Box. And here you can see there's a signboard and it says do not board. This means that the trains are operating, but not for passenger service. It's probably for testing. So yeah, do not board the train, haha. So around here, we are also going to have a look at some other shuttle service. This Jurong East is an interchange of Shuttle 1, 2, and 4. And there's actually quite a bit of people. There's a constant stream of people who are trying to get from Shuttle 2, and you can see that there's actually a small little queue. But overall, the people are moving, and that's a good thing. The buses, there's not really that long queue. They don't try to pack everybody into the bus, and that's a very good thing. You can see that there's a constant stream of people over here, and that means that there's no bottleneck anywhere. Now at Jurong East, they are extremely prepared. Can you see all that guiding barriers that will like guide people? And that's quite a good crowd control measure that they prepared this time round. Not bad at all, not bad. In fact, I think it's much more orderly than the 10 December one. That one was utter chaos. In fact, there isn't really any jam along the roads. Not for this one. Not even for the Shuttle 4. And as you can see, now people can even board from the rear. This really facilitates passenger boarding for the shuttle bus services. That's a good thing that they thought of. And here we can see over here, the roads are empty, and there's no jam of buses trying to enter some alighting points. Well, maybe you're still not allowed to like alight anywhere before the alighting point, but at least there's no need to, because there isn't even a bus jam. Maybe because they deployed less buses. Now here we are at Bukit Batok Bus Interchange, which is located near Bukit Batok MRT station. And you know what? It is actually a fairly good idea to stop the buses. The shuttle bus services at Bukit Batok Bus Interchange. Like after all, there isn't really a lot of bus services that stops here, which means that there isn't really a possibility of a bus jam. And there's also existing infrastructure like crowd control barriers, sort of, to handle all that passenger workflow, which isn't really a lot at Bukit Batok. So it's not that bad of an idea after all. Now, the northern part of Singapore, as in from Jurong East to Choa Chu Kang, there is quite a minor problem that makes it not very suitable for shuttle bus services, which is that no main road follows the MRT tracks. And that is not very good, because after all, it means that the shuttle bus services have to make a big detour just to get to the MRT station itself, which explains for the long time it takes to get between Jurong East and Choa Chu Kang on the shuttle bus compared to, say, from anywhere along the east-west line, which has a main road that's right underneath it. So yeah, this is caused by the hilly nature of Bukit Batok and Bukit Gombak. As you can see here, there's a hill over here. This geography constraint does even affect the way that the HDBs are built here. So that's why the buses have to travel a huge detour, like say along Bukit Batok West Avenue 2, which isn't really close to Bukit Gombak. And therefore, it does have to make quite a big detour. Over here, as you can see, the DDU, the driver display unit that is, and then the EasyLink card, they are all functioning as if this is a normal bus service. They are pretty prepared to like try to avoid bus bunching, even though they are so close together, there isn't really much of a problem caused by it. So it operates like a normal bus service, so that's not that bad. Okay, so at Bukit Gombak, I also face another problem, which I also face at Outram Park, which is that I'm not allowed to like record the train premises, not within the fare gates, that is, outside the fare gates. I cannot record it as I was stopped by the MRT staff over there. And you know what? That isn't really a big problem for me, because, come on, they operate the train services. Just follow the rules. It will be fine. So yeah, let's not make a big deal of it. Now, finally we reach Choa Chu Kang, which the bus travels there through Bukit Batok Road to Tech Wine, and then Choa Chu Kang Way, and then finally towards Choa Chu Kang. An interesting thing over here is that the bus services here, I mean the shuttle bus, when they alight passengers, they alight at this main road over here, near Choa Chu Kang MRT station. I think it should be Choa Chu Kang Avenue 4. But when you board the bus, it is from Choa Chu Kang bus interchange. Maybe that's because of crowd control and the existing infrastructure over at Choa Chu Kang bus interchange. As you can tell, there is a lot of people who is trying to board the MRT shuttle service at Choa Chu Kang. These people from as far north as Woodlands, they all have to reach here, and they even have to set up, they even have to use 2 berths to support all that crowd, all that people, and then they even need crowd control barriers just because there's so much people, and that is quite a backlog. But even then, it only lasts around. It will be a few minutes and a few skip buses, and you will be on the shuttle bus eventually. So not that big of a problem. They also have a lot of security personnel over here just to like regulate the crowd. There's just so many of them. Just look at that. Look at that. So many people tapping out the fare gates just to board the shuttle bus service. Honestly though, if you're going to the city, I doubt many people will travel this via Jurong East. Maybe they'll travel the long way to Sembawang and finally back into the city. Or they will take the Bukit Panjang LRT. So that will lead me to a question. Will the Bukit Panjang LRT be crowded because of people who are traveling to the downtown line towards the city? Maybe. Actually, not really actually. I mean like as far as I can tell. Unlike what I thought, there isn't really that much people who are trying to board the LRT at Bukit Panjang, at the LRT at Bukit Panjang, along the Bukit Panjang LRT line. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a bit of people, but that's normal. I mean, a lot of people take the roller coaster every day. Yeah, that always breakdowns. But when I took the LRT over here, even though it's just like one car, all the passengers can still fit in that. So that isn't really a big problem. After all, well, for that day, I mean 17 December, there isn't really a need for you to take the next bus or the next LRT. There really isn't a need. There isn't that much of a crowd. I think it's handled pretty well. MRT did a decent job for handling crowd, and probably it will be easier on them when they do it the same thing in January 2018 around Pasir Ris to Ignosi when that stretch of the MRT tracks closed down. It will be much easier to handle because there's a downtown line as well that's helping to dissipate the crowd. So if things goes right, I think it will not be that hard to do such a MRT shuttle in the east come next month. Right now at Bukit Panjang, as you can see, there's quite a bit of people over here, like usual. No, seriously, like usual. So that isn't really a big problem, honestly. At least you can still board the downtown line train in one shot. You don't have to wait for the next train. I'm not sure if the same applies at night, but well, I think it's not really that crowded after all. It's not handled poorly, so I think it's good. There's a bit of a constant stream of people, but then there isn't really much of a problem. Well, you can still board the train. So honestly, if Singapore were to have partially lost the MRT system, I think they would just do fine. Singapore can sort of live without the MRT system. Not completely lah, but sort of. At Botanic Gardens MRT, there isn't like a huge crowd from the North-South line as you can see here. So yeah, there isn't really that much people. It's almost empty, maybe because I recorded this right before a train arrives from the Circle Line to cater for people entering the downtown line. And here's Buona Vista, a bit crowded but just like business as usual, not really much of a difference. So that's pretty much all for this video. Feel free to rate, comment, share or subscribe. This is SG Transit Evolution signing off.